Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to another Meowster ASMR video. In this video, I will read about some strange historical objects. I'm reading their wiki pages, so we'll kind of just explore and see what's out there and see what these objects are. I haven't read any of them, so I don't know what they're all about, but judging by some of the titles and some of the names, they sound pretty interesting to me. Oh, by the way, I am using a mic cover for the first time in this video. I have the Tascam, so I just had an extra big mic cover, and I just put it over the entire thing, and it seems to work okay. So yeah, let me know if the sound quality is any better. Hopefully it is. I'm not sure though. But yeah, without further ado, let's get started with the video. Okay, the first strange object that we have is the London hammer. Also known as the London artifact, the London hammer is a hammer made of iron and wood that was found in London, Texas. Okay, sorry. When I heard of the London hammer, I expected this to be in England, like close to London. And the first sentence says that this was found in London, Texas, a city in Texas named London. Anyway, that is crazy. Okay, it was found in 1936. Part of the hammer is embedded in a limey rock concretion, leading it to be regarded by some as an anomalous artifact. The tool is identical to late 19th century mining hammers, and the most likely explanation for its encasement in rock is that a deposit of highly soluble travertine formed and hardened around it within a relatively short time. Sorry, I hit the mic. Okay, so basically the whole mystery behind the London hammer is that it's a fairly modern looking hammer. Like the hammers that, not really a hammer, imagine like a pickaxe that like those old-timey miners would use, but the hammer is embedded in rock, making it look like it's super old, like some ancient artifact. And the theory is that some like soluble rock formed around it really quickly. Okay, the history. So the hammer was purportedly found by a local couple, Max Hahn and a female friend, while out walking along the course of the Red Creek near the town of London. I wonder if you can hear my cat meowing. They spotted a curious piece of loose rock with a bit of wood embedded in it and took it home with them. A decade later, their son, Max, broke open the rock to find the concealed hammerhead within. The metal hammerhead is approximately 6 inches long and has a diameter of 1 inch, leading some to suggest that this hammer was not used for large projects, but rather for fine work or soft metal. The metal of the hammerhead consists of 97% iron, 2% chlorine, and 1% sulfur. The hammer began to attract wider attention after it was bought in 1983 by the creationist Carl Baugh, who claimed the artifact was a monumental pre-flood discovery. Pre-flood as in like Noah's Ark. He has used it as the basis of speculation of how the atmospheric quality, of an antediluvian Earth could have encouraged the growth of giants. Baugh's Creation Evidence Museum purchased the hammer around 1983 and began to promote it as the London artifact. Other observers have noted that the hammer is stylistically consistent with typical American tools manufactured in the region in the late 19th century. Its design is consistent with a miner's hammer. One possible explanation for the rock containing the artifact is that the highly soluble minerals in the ancient limestone may have formed a concretion around the object via a common process, like that of a petrifying well, which often creates similar incrustations around fossils and other nuclei in a relatively short time. Okay, I think personally I prescribe to the theory that just some very quick rock formed around it, and that it's not some strange ancient artifact, but it's a cool object nonetheless. But yeah, okay. Next object is the Baghdad Battery. The Baghdad Battery is the name given to a set of 3 artifacts which were found together: a ceramic pot, a tube of copper, and a rod of iron. It was discovered in present-day Qajar in Iraq in 1936, close to the capital of the Parthian and Sasanian empires, and it is believed to date from either 150 BC to 223 AD or 224 AD to 650 AD. The origin and purpose remain unclear. It was hypothesized by Wilhelm Koenig, at the time the director of the National Museum of Iraq, that the object functioned as a galvanic cell, possibly used for electroplating or some kind of electrotherapy. But there is no electroplated object known from this period, and the claims are universally rejected by archaeologists. An alternative explanation is that it functioned as a storage vessel for sacred scrolls. 10 similar clay vessels have been found earlier. 4 were found in 1930 in Seleucia, dating to the Sassanid period. 3 were sealed with bitumen and contained a bronze cylinder, again sealed with a pressed-in papyrus wrapper containing decomposed fiber rolls. They had been staked out with up to 4 metal rods made of bronze and iron sunk into the ground, and their cult meaning and use are inferred. Physical description. The artifacts consist of a terracotta pot approximately 6 inches tall with a 1.5-inch mouth containing a cylinder made of a rolled copper sheet, which houses a single iron rod. At the top, the iron rod is isolated from the copper by bitumen, with plugs or stoppers, and both rod and cylinder fit snugly inside the opening jar cylinder is not watertight, so if the jar were filled with the liquid, this would surround the iron rod as well. The artifact had been exposed to the weather and had suffered corrosion. Austrian archaeologist Wilhelm Koenig believed the objects might date to the Parthian period. However, according to St. John Simpson of the Near Eastern Department of the British Museum, their original excavation and context were not well recorded, and evidence for this date range is very weak. Furthermore, the style of the pottery is Sasanian. Okay, theories concerning operation. Here's the interesting stuff. Wilhelm Koenig was an assistant at the Iraq Museum in the 1930s. He had observed a number of very fine silver objects from ancient Iraq, plated with very thin layers of gold, and speculated that they were electroplated. In 1938, he authored a paper offering the hypothesis that they may have formed a galvanic cell, perhaps used for electroplating gold onto silver objects. This interpretation is rejected by archaeologists and scientists. Corrosion of the metal and tests both indicate that an acidic agent such as wine or vinegar was present in the jar. This led to speculation that the liquid was used as an acidic electrolyte solution to generate an electric current from the difference between the electrode potentials of the copper and iron electrodes. I'll be honest, I know nothing of electricity, electric science and all that, so all of that kind of meant nothing to me. But I think the consensus around this theory is that this jar, along with the copper cylinder and iron rod, kind of formed some kind of an electric device that had electric currents running through it and stuff. There is a supporting experiment. So after the Second World War, Willard Gray demonstrated current production by a reconstruction of the inferred battery design when filled with grape juice. W. Jansen experimented with benzoquinone, and vinegar in a cell and got satisfactory performance. In 1978, Arne Egerbrecht, a past director of the Romer and Belazes Museum, reportedly reproduced the electroplating of gold onto a small statue. There are no direct written or photographic records of this experiment. In an article from the BBC, a researcher based at the same museum said there does not exist any written documentation of the experiment which took place here in 1978. Okay. Though the iron rod did project outside the asphalt plug, the copper tube did not, making it impossible to connect a wire to this to complete a circuit. Koenig himself seems to have mistaken on the nature of the object he thought were electroplated. They were apparently fire-gilded with mercury. I see. Artifacts are similar to other objects believed to be storage vessels for sacred scrolls, and was looted along with thousands of other artifacts from the National Museum during the 2003 invasion of Iraq. Oh, I see, that's why it disappeared. I don't think I mentioned it, but the Baghdad battery has disappeared as of 2003 since it has been stolen during the invasion of Iraq, so it's gone now, unfortunately. Even Mythbusters did a episode on this object. They tried to build a replica of the jar to see if it could be used for electrostimulation. When linked in the series, the cells had sufficient power to electroplate a small token and to deliver current to acupuncture-type needles for therapeutic purposes, but not enough to deliver an electric shock to Mythbusters' Adam Savage. Okay. Alright, so, yeah, just a weird jar that has some things inside of it that kind of look like it could be used for electric purposes, but we don't really know. Most likely not, but experiments show that it was possible to generate at least a little bit of electric current using that design, so I don't know. We don't know. We don't know what they knew back then. Okay, next. You may have heard of this, maybe like from Indiana Jones. The crystal skull. Crystal skulls are human skull hard stone carvings made of clear or milky white quartz, claimed to be a pre-Columbian Mesoamerican artifact by their alleged finders. However, these claims have been refuted for all of the specimens made available for scientific studies. The results of these studies demonstrated that those examined were manufactured in the mid-19th century or later, almost certainly in Europe during a time when interest in ancient culture abounded. The skulls appear to have been crafted in Germany, quite likely at workshops in the town of Idar Oberstein, which was renowned for crafting objects from imported Brazilian quartz. I see. Okay. So there are some skulls that they have in museums. There's the British Museum skull that first appeared in 1881. And yeah, they just have it. They say it's from Europe. And they say that it's not an authentic pre-Columbian artifact. There's also the Mitchell-Hedges skull. Perhaps the most famous and enigmatic skull was allegedly discovered in 1924 by Anna Mitchell-Hedges, adopted daughter of British adventurer and popular author F.A. Mitchell-Hedges. It is the subject of a video documentary made in 1990, Crystal Skull of Lubanton. Lubanton. It was examined and described by Smithsonian researchers as very nearly a replica of the British Museum skull, almost exactly the same shape, but with more detailed modeling of the eyes and the teeth. Okay. Mitchell-Hedges claimed that she found the skull buried under a collapsed altar inside a temple in Lubanton, in British Honduras, now Belize. As far as can be ascertained, F.A. Mitchell-Hedges himself made no mention of the alleged discovery in any of his writings on Lubanton. Others present at the time of the excavation recorded neither the skull's discovery or Anna's presence at the dig. The skull is made from a block of clear quartz measuring some 5 inches high, 7 inches long, and 5 inches wide. The lower jaw is detached. In the early 1970s, it came under the temporary care of freelance art restorer Frank Dorland. Okay. Okay. Alright, paranormal claims and spiritual associations. Some individuals believe in the paranormal claim that crystal skulls can provide a variety of miracles. Anna Mitchell Hedges claimed that the skull she allegedly discovered could cause visions and cure cancer, that she once used its magical properties to kill a man, and that in another instance she saw a premonition of JFK's assassination. Claims of the healing and supernatural powers of skull crystals have had no support in the scientific community, which has found no evidence of any unusual phenomena associated with the skulls, other than confirmation of their method of manufacture. Okay. Alright, so, I don't know, yeah. I guess it seems that they originated from Europe, and that they were just used in some hoaxes, though I am not entirely educated on this subject, so I don't know 100%, but they have some pretty crazy looking skulls over here. I think they look cool. At the very least, they look really cool. Okay, next we have the stone spheres of Costa Rica. The stone spheres of Costa Rica are an assortment of over 300 petrospheres in Costa Rica on the Diquis Delta on the Isla del Caño. Locally, they are also known as the stone balls. Oh, okay. The stone balls. The spheres are commonly attributed to the extinct Diquis culture, and they are sometimes referred to as the Diquis spheres. Alright, I'm gonna change my sitting position real quick. Oh, my knees hurt. Okay, they are the best known stone sculptures in the Istmo Colombian area. They are thought to have been placed in lines along the approach to the houses of chiefs, but their exact significance remains uncertain. In June 2014, the pre-Columbian chiefdom settlements with stone spheres of Diquis was added to the UNESCO list of World Heritage Sites. I see, okay. In July 2014, a project which had been proposed in 2011 to declare the spheres a national symbol of the country was approved. According to some archaeologists' hypothesis, the spheres could represent solar systems or just be inspired by various stages of the sun and the moon as viewed with the naked eye. Description: the spheres range in size from a few centimeters to over 6.6 feet in diameter and weigh up to 15 tons. Wow. Most are sculpted from gabbro, the coarse-grained equivalent of basalt. There are also a dozen or so made from shell-rich limestone, and another dozen made from sandstone. They appear to have been made by hammering natural boulders with other rocks, then polishing with sand. The degree of finishing and precision of working varies considerably. The gabbro came from the sites in the hills several kilometers away from where the finished spheres are found, though some unfinished spheres remain in the hills. There's also like the pyramids, for example, like the huge boulders that they have. I think it's amazing that they moved them. The Easter Island statues, Stonehenge is another one. Just really cool stuff. A lot of dedication, I'm guessing, right? Okay, historical background. Before the arrival of the Campania Bananera de Costa Rica, a branch of the United Fruit Company, and banana plantations in the 1930s, there was dense vegetation in the area. Resources available to pre-Columbian inhabitants in this alluvial plain consisted of riverine and ocean resources, including mangrove forests. Okay. Current research. Research is currently ongoing at the Farm 6 site under the direction of archaeologists at the Museo Nacional de Costa Rica. The first field season in which archaeological excavations were undertaken was in 2005. Objectives during this field season included to find the area in which two mounds were located, sphere alignments, and various excavations associated with Mount 2. Okay, cool. I like that. Oh, myths. Here we go. Here we go. This is what I was talking about. Okay, myths. Here we go. Numerous myths surround the stones, such as they came from Atlantis, or that they were made by nature. Some local legends state that the native inhabitants had access to a potion able to soften the rock. Limestone, for example, can be dissolved by acidic solutions obtained from plants. However, most of the spheres were created from gabbro, an acid-resistant igneous rock. In the cosmogony of the Bribri, which is shared by Capricorus and other American ancestral groups, the stone spheres are Tara's cannonballs. Tara, the god of thunder, used a giant blowpipe to shoot the balls at the Xerxes, gods of winds and hurricanes, in order to drive them out of these lands. It has been claimed that the spheres are perfect or very near perfect in roundness, although some spheres are known to vary over 5 centimeters in diameter. Also, the stones have been damaged and eroded over the years, and so it is impossible to know exactly their original shape. A review of the way that the stones were measured by Lothrop reveals that claims of precision are due to misinterpretations of the methods used in their measurement. Okay. These figures were actually averages of measurements taken with tapes that were nowhere near that precise. I see. Okay. Okay. Nice. Okay, next one. We have the Roman dodecahedron. A Roman dodecahedron, or Gallo-Roman dodecahedron, is a small, hollow object made of copper alloy, which has been cast into a regular dodecahedral shape with 12 flat pentagonal sides. They look like those D&D dice. Yeah. Just imagine like D&D dice. It looks like that. Each face has a circular hole of varying diameter in the middle, the holes connecting to the hollow center, and each corner has a protruding knob. Roman dodecahedra date from the 2nd to 4th centuries AD, and their purpose remains unknown. They rarely show signs of wear and do not have any inscribed numbers or letters. The first dodecahedron was found in 1739. Since then, at least 130 similar objects have been found in Austria, Belgium, France, Germany, Hungary, Luxembourg, the Netherlands, Switzerland, and in the United Kingdom, but not in the Roman heartland of Italy. In 2023, a dodecahedron I love that word, dodecahedron, in excellent condition was found by amateur archaeologists in a small village of Norton Disney in Lincolnshire, UK, bringing the total to 33 of such objects found on the territory of Roman Britain. Purpose: no mention of dodecahedrons have been found in contemporary accounts or pictures of the time. Speculative uses include as a survey instrument for estimating distances of distant objects, though this is questioned as there are no markings to indicate that they would be a mathematical instrument. Another theory is they are a spool knitting device for making gloves, though the earliest known references to spool knitting is from 1535, and this would neither explain the use of bronze nor the apparently similar icosahedron, which is missing the holes necessary for spool knitting, or maybe part of a child's toy or decorative, or maybe for decorative purposes. Interesting. They're about the size of a dice, and there are a couple of different shapes. Like there's the pentagon-faced ones, and then there's like the 20-sided triangle-faced ones. Personally, they look like they might be dice of some kind. I don't know, or maybe like a decorative thing. But they look very alien. If you can look them up, Roman dodecahedron, they look very, very strange. But I think they're nothing too crazy, though they are very silly looking. Okay, next we have the Phaistos disc. The Phaistos disc, or Phaistos disc with a K, is a disc of fired clay from the island of Crete, Greece, possibly from the Middle or Late Minoan Bronze Age, bearing a text in an unknown script and language. Its purpose and its original place of manufacture remain disputed. It is now on display at the Archaeological Museum of Heracleon. The name is sometimes spelled Phaistos or Phaistos. The disc was discovered in 1908 by Italian archaeologist Luigi Bernier during the excavation of the Minoan palace of Phaistos. The disc is about 6 inches in diameter and is covered on each side with a spiral text consisting of a total of 241 occurrences of 45 distinct signs, which were created by pressing individual sign stamps onto the soft clay before firing. While its unique features initially led some scholars to suspect a forgery or hoax, the disc is now generally accepted as authentic by archaeologists. The mysterious object captured the imagination of amateur and professional paleographers, and many attempts have been made to decipher the code behind the disc signs. While it is not clear that it is a script, most attempted decipherments assume that it is. Most additionally assume a syllabary, and others an alphabet or logograph. lithography. The disc is made of fine-grained clay. The clay does not appear to be of local origin, perhaps not even from Crete. Hoax or no, origin of the artifact. Gustav Klotz claimed that the clay was not from Crete. Ibsen concluded that the disc was certainly from somewhere on the Aegean. However, because of its differences from linear A or B, he, like Evan, supported a non-Cretan origin for the disc. Okay. The uniqueness of the script, of the spiral arrangement, and of the method of writing have led some scholars to raise the possibility that the Phaistos disc is a 1908 forgery or hoax. It was pointed out that the date of manufacture has never been established by thermoluminescence dating. However, the disc is now generally accepted as authentic. The precise excavation records maintained by Luigi Bernier have always been a problem for the hoax hypothesis. That hypothesis was eventually put to rest by the discovery of the other artifacts in Crete with similar glyphs, which a 1909 hoaxer would not have known about. Also, a gold signet ring from Knossos, found in 1926, contains a linear A inscription laid out in a spiral similar to the Phaistos disc. And to this day, it has not been fully deciphered yet. We don't know what it says, or what it is. I guess it's just another one of those lost languages that we don't know about anymore. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna do one more. I will do the Koso artifact. Let me just look this guy up. Okay. The Koso artifact is an object falsely claimed by its discoverers to be a spark plug encased in a geode. Discovered on February 13th, 1961 by Wallace Lane, Virginia Maxey, and Mike Mikesell while they were prospecting for geodes near the town of Olancha, California. It has long been claimed as an example of an out-of-place artifact. The artifact has been identified as a 1920s era champion spark plug encased in a concretion. So it's like another one of those like London hammer object, modern object encased in rock. Okay, a spark plug encased in a 500,000-year-old geode would represent a substantial scientific and historical anomaly, as spark plugs were invented in the 19th century. Okay, yeah. The stone matrix containing the artifact is not a geode, but a concretion that can be explained by natural processes that can take over decades or years and not millennia. I see. Okay. Okay, so there are several pseudo-scientific theories for the artifact's origin. Among them, an ancient advanced civilization such as Atlantis, prehistoric ancient astronauts, human time travelers from the future. An investigation using X-rays taken of the object identified the artifact as They actually like pinpointed exactly what like company made it and everything. On April 12th, 2018, Pierre Stromberg was contacted by the family of one of the co-discoverers of the artifact, offered an opportunity to inspect the artifact physically. Stromberg accepted and also arranged for the artifact to be inspected by a geologist from the University of Washington. The inspections confirmed the previous conclusion that the artifact was a 1920s era spark plug. It had also been claimed to have fossil shells on the surface that dated back 500,000 years, but the University of Washington could find no evidence of this claim. This raises the question of the qualifications and competency of the original alleged geologist back in 1961. The reason the artifact gained the fame that it did was because of the shell claim. As of 2019, the artifact resides at the Pacific Science Center in Seattle, where it is shown in an exhibit called What is Reality? Okay, alright. Yeah, you know what, actually that one was kind of short. I'll do another one, just because I wanna. Okay, this is the last one though. The very last one I'm gonna do today is the Betz Mystery Sphere. The Betz Mystery Sphere is a metal sphere with an approximate diameter of 8 inches, weighing nearly 22 pounds, uncovered in 1974 by a family in Florida. On March 27th, 1974, the Betz family investigated a small brush fire near their residence in Fort George Island in Florida. The family of 3, Antoine, Jerry, and son Terry, came across a small metal sphere the size of a bowling ball. Their first thought was the sphere had been a cannonball left from New World conquistadors. They decided to take the sphere back to their house. Several days later, Terry was playing the guitar in their home. The sphere seemed to react to the sound of the guitar. It made a throbbing noise. Later, the sphere was noticed to roll on its own and even stop and change direction. Terry started doing experiments with the sphere. He noticed the sphere would reverberate when hit with a hammer. He also found the sphere would move after being shaken and placed on the ground. The Betz family reported that the sphere moved on its own several times and that it would follow people around the house, seemingly on its own. Analysis. In April 1974, the United Press International reported, quote, "The Navy said the sphere is nothing more than a huge ball bearing used as a check valve in the piping system of some chemical plant." The same month, the Miami Herald reported that a similar ball in Jacksonville had been identified as part of a valve once used in a paper mill. Later review, a 2012 analysis by Skeptoid revealed contemporary media analysis indicating that the Betz sphere may have been a ball check valve produced by the Bell & Howell Company. Its size, weight, and metallurgical composition matched also posited an explanation for the sphere's autonomous motion, noting that the sphere sat quietly on display inside the Betz home for nearly 2 weeks and is not reported to have ever moved on its own at all, except for when someone took it down to experiment with it. I believe it's because of the construction of the house. Oh, it's old and has uneven stone floors. The ball is almost perfectly balanced and takes just a little indentation to make it move or change direction. Okay. Yeah, there you go. There you have it. The Betz sphere, the mystery sphere. It's been solved. It's a sphere used in a valve, and it didn't move on its own, but instead just rolled around the house because the house was a little wobbly. So there you go. Yeah. Okay, well, I guess that is the final object. I'll be honest, I expected these to be a little bit more controversial. I wanted them to be like kind of more conspiratorial and mysterious objects, but a lot of them just turned out to be more historical artifacts, and a lot of them were just like hoaxes, like they didn't really exist and stuff like that. So it's not fully what I expected going into making the video, but that's okay. I think it was still fun to read about the history of these objects, and I hope that you enjoyed it too. If you're still listening, thank you so much for sticking it out and watching my video, I guess. And yeah, I hope that you have an amazing rest of your day, your night, your afternoon, your morning, whenever